and Siren Crew, Season 10 starting now.
What's Splash Siren Crew? My name is Renique and I am your guest host for today. Some of you may know me as the co-founder of Certified Kunk, but today I will be interviewing none other than Lashanti Jeff, also known as Lashanti The Siren. Hi, Lashanti. Welcome to your show.
Thank you. Welcome to being the host of the show.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. So let's dive right on in. Lashanti, we've seen Siren Sundays for like 10 seasons now, right?
10 seasons, yeah.
How does that feel?
I think it feels a little unbelievable. I definitely remember when I initially thought about starting the show and thinking, oh, this is just something to do during the pandemic. Like, everyone's online on social media. Let me do something that's meaningful while I don't have a job and try to finish my master's. And to see it grow into something this big, in my opinion, it feels really good. I feel pretty accomplished to meet 10 seasons.
Well, I think we're very happy about where Siren Sunday has come as well. I think we want to know more about the person behind Siren Sundays because we see you every Sunday and we see all of the persons who you interview. But Lashanti, tell us more about you. How did you become the Siren?
Ooh, I love this question. I have definitely been a mermaid my entire life, right? And I think anybody that has known me ever knows immediately two things about me. I'm a mermaid and Chris Brown. We're focusing on the first one. And so I definitely obviously chose to turn that into a career. But originally, I actually wanted to be a marine animal veterinarian. So when I went off to undergrad, I started off in the pre-vet track, but I wanted to do marine biology. So I was trying to see if I could juggle the courses. And then eventually I had a summer job where I worked at a facility here that has marine mammals. And I found that I really, really enjoyed talking to people about marine animals and why it's important to conserve the ocean. And I really felt like I was connecting people. And so from then I realized that I liked connecting people to nature. And everyone knows conservation makes sense, but to actually inspire someone to take action and participate in conservation was what I really found rewarding. So I went back that next semester and told my advisor, I think I want to study marine biology. And I knew that I wanted to get into marine science. Like I just wanted to do research. I wanted to connect people with conservation. And at the time, if you're doing that, if you're not going to be a doctor with your science degree, you're probably going to be a researcher working in the field. And I got the opportunity to do that after undergrad. But as I started to kind of evolve in my career, I went off and did my master's, which I got fully funded at University of Cambridge, and it was in conservation leadership. Now, I was still grappling with the fact that, well, I want to get more sciencey and I want to learn more sciencey things and be an actual science researcher. But I kept finding myself drawn to conservation and people and talking. And literally towards the end of that master's program, we were doing something called a career compass. Shout out to conservationcareers.org. And everyone was kind of grappling with this. Like, oh, well, this was to show me the direction I want to go in. My months they were grabbing my hair. And I remember I was the only person at the end of that who, I slammed my paper down. I looked at the class and they were like, does anyone want to, talk about what they found? And I was like, me. And I literally said, this compass has told me that I want to be a public figure that advocates for marine conservation. And that blew my mind because I never saw myself as somebody, and this may surprise people, I never saw myself as someone doing a lot of public speaking. I enjoy doing it. But I always just kind of said, oh, I just want to do research. I want to do this stuff. But I didn't really like research. And so after that, COVID hit and I got to be featured on the Sustainable Lifestyle Group's panel for Earth Day. And after that, a lot of people actually started messaging me and was like, that was a really great panel. When's the next one? So I reached out to Melissa Ingram, who you guys may have seen on the show a few times. And I was like, hey, can we do another one? I'd be happy to plan it. I'd be happy to host it. I think it would be a great idea. And so she thought it was also a great idea. And then we said, okay, well, what are we going to call it? And I was like, well, I can't do mermaid TV. I can't do, the word mermaid is used by so many people. As many of us know, there are so many mermaids in the sector. I decided that I wanted to be a siren because I felt like sirens get a bad rep for attracting people to the rocks and, killing sailors. But I wanted to be able to use my voice to educate people about the rocks and get them onto the rocks and wanting to protect the rocks. And so I love the idea of just, Siren Sundays. And Sunday was always the ideal day because people are coming home from church, not really knowing what else to do in the afternoon. And so Siren Sundays was every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And oftentimes, right after the show ended, we have our wonderful Prime Minister address the Bahamian public. So the timing really worked out because everyone was already online on Facebook. And so it started to get a lot of traction. It was almost like the pre-show to the national address. So, yeah, and that was 4 years ago.
It was almost like the Palm Storm.
I would definitely, yeah, that's a good, because you never know what you were going to get with a national address at the time. So, yeah, I definitely, that was Siren Sundays. And that's neat.
Yeah, okay. So is there more to you or more than Siren Sundays that you want to tell us about? Anything that's new that you would like to talk about?
So many things. Something new. Some of you guys may have been following my social media and would have seen that in November I had the launch of my nonprofit. You guys were there. And so Bahamas Conservation Connection is a nonprofit that I think is more of an extension of the things that I want to do, as Lashanti The Siren. I found that we have so many people working in conservation and all of us have so many common goals, but we're not quite working together unless we absolutely have to because the funder says so. So I want to have Bahamas Conservation Connection, or BCC, be this connective tissue for all conservationists and individuals and students who are working in or studying conservation and environmental sciences. So I'm super excited to get that kicked off and rolling this year. And on the other side of that, towards the end of last year, I actually received a grant to create an online community of practice for global conservationists and researchers working in the field. And that's called Global Conservation Connection. So I'm working on a connective tissue sort of NPO on the ground for something national. And I'm also at the same time working on something on a global scale that will be launched in March. So stay tuned for that. And we really, for that, we want to encourage really healthy discourse amongst conservationists from around the world on topics that you normally don't get to talk about because you feel like you maybe don't want to say something that can be deemed as controversial. So you can, be anonymous on this discourse forum and actually hear opinions about your opinion from people all around the world who have the different perspectives. And you may even learn things that you can implement in your particular context. So super excited to be jumping those two balls at the same time while also having the show.
Yeah. Well, I actually got an opportunity to attend BCC, the event that we launched last year, and I feel like it's such an impactful journey. And I don't know if you know, but we refer to you as the connection queen. Because Lashanti knows everybody, and I'm sure everyone who's watching knows Lashanti is basically someone who is well connected inside the industry, and she also has set up the Bahamas Conservation Connection to help and assist young persons and persons like my age and other professionals to be more connected as well. And I said my age, saying that I ain't young, but I am.
Yeah, we are. Our generation, we right in the middle.
There.
We're in the younger middle. We're in middle, but
yeah, I 100% agree.
I know.
I never said that.
No, I mean, but we're
not. We are not. And of course, GCC, I feel, is going to be on a global scale. So I'm excited to see and hear more about that as well. So, Lashanti, you did mention when you talked about your career path earlier about how you made this change and this swift, but not a swift change, but something you changed your trajectory of where you were going in life. So, what is some advice that you would give younger persons that may want to be coming in and they have a dead set on their goal of, I'm going to be a marine researcher, I'm going to be someone who is in conservation education? Like, how would you advise young persons that are coming into the sector?
I would definitely say, don't knock it till you try it. I think it's super important to not feel stuck in something that you think you want to do, because I've met a lot of young people in the field who, or maybe not even in the field, who are interested in being in the field that are saying, oh, well, I'm studying to be this because it'll make me money. Or I'm studying to be this because my parents want me to have a job that they think is meaningful. And I always say to that, if you're doing something you're passionate about, it's meaningful to you. And if you're doing it well, it'll make you money. And I always, I kept joking that I would write a book about this. But when I started Siren Sundays, I was wrapping up my master's, didn't have a job. And within the first 5 months, I was profitable. And so I'm sure if I had kept pushing through and doing that, it would have continued to be profitable. But many of you know, I kind of pulled back on any sort of sponsorship, or so all this is out of pocket at whatever cost that it is. But it was for me so affirming to see that, oh, if I had just really kept pushing this, I could have totally been doing this and doing this alone, or doing it on a bigger scale that would have been bringing in revenue. And so whenever I tell young people that, they would be like, wow, like you can make money off of just doing this, like just talking to people. And I'm like, yeah, like you can make money doing anything. You just have to be passionate about it. It has to be useful to the people that you're targeting. And it really has to be something that you believe in, because if you don't believe in it, you can't sell anything. Like, people aren't gonna buy into your dream, So yeah, follow your heart, follow your passion. If it sets your soul on fire, then go and light the world.
I like that. That's actually really
that was awesome.
Really? You never said that before?
Well, thanks. Let's see, my sister. That's a whole word. Something you're passionate about and doing it well. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah,
I completely agree, because a lot of times, and me personally, I've come up inside the era where this was not the profession that persons would have chosen. Mm-hmm. Persons wouldn't say, "Oh, go there, be a marine conservationist, or go be a siren or mermaid." First of all, back in the day, you want to be a siren. Like you mentioned earlier, it has could have had
demon. Oh, yeah. I've actually had two people. I know. I've had two interactions with people who heard me say, Lashanti the Siren, and immediately gave it that negative connotation. And I'm like, it is what you make it.
But you're so angelic.
I look at a house all the time. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very much welcome. But I know personally, as someone who's inside the sector, that there are, challenges and things that we face or that we come across, other than the initial challenge where a person's telling you, oh, maybe not, this is not the profession that we want to make money from. So what are some challenges that you have faced, and let us know how you overcame those challenges?
I always joke about this, and I feel like I say it with two mouths, because this sector, a lot of people are not in it because it makes you money. You are in the conservation and environmental sector because you are passionate about it, and that passion is typically what carries you through. And that was a challenge for me, I would say, in the beginning, because I would have friends that were pursuing different types of science careers, or just different careers in general. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, like they're making like twice my salary already, and I'm here making coins, but I felt fulfilled, right? And I think I realized very quickly that you can make the money you want to make in this sector, but you really have to find your niche and hone in on your gift and talent. And I've been grateful and fortunate that, as I continue to climb, I feel like my compensation is starting to level out. But some of the other challenges that I always find kind of funny, and even though in the Bahamas, most of the people in the sector are women, right? But I remember, and as you can tell, I have nails, I have my acrylic. I do like to do makeup from time to time. And I remember being on a field expedition. I had these like hot red nails, freshly done, like maybe a week in.
I like them.
Yeah, loved it. And because I feel like, let me finish the story. And someone on that trip, another woman who was not a part of the sector, she literally said to me, "You don't look like you come in here to do research. You look like you come in here to just sit on the boat." And I was like, thanks. I mean, are you trying to tell me that I look cute? And then she was like, you just look too girly to be doing this. And I don't know what it is that's about me. Like when someone tries to tell me I'm too girly or it's because I'm a woman, I almost feel like I gotta push 2 times harder and do something, especially when I have to lift in heavy stuff. I don't mind guys helping me, but I feel like if a guy tells me, oh, you can't lift that because you're a gal, I can lift it times 10. Yeah. So when she did that, I knew that she wasn't saying it to be offensive, but it really shed a light, in my opinion, because I've met girls who were like, oh, well, I would love to dive, I'd love to swim, but my hair is going to get wet. I'm like, girl, put extra conditioner on your hair. Like, there are things that you can do to still almost kind of maintain your true identity, because I think a lot of times, because it looks like a male-dominated field, it looks like you need to be like very tomboyish. You have to be the person who doesn't fix their hair and doesn't get their nails done or doesn't put on lashes because you work in the field, when really you don't have to look any particular way to do anything you want in this world. And so that was an initial challenge for me, where people that I worked with actually even said, like, they would make comments like, oh, Lashanti's the girly one. She's not going to want to walk in the bush. I had so many scratches and bruises. I've tripped so many times and gotten dirty. because I had to do it, but also to prove a point, right? Like just because I come across as more girlier than you does not mean you do the work better than me. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I had to prove myself a little bit back in the day. So that was a challenge. And I think I always try to tell young girls, like, you don't have to compromise anything about yourself just to work in the field. And I remember I met a researcher. This is a little off topic, but I feel like it has a point. I'll never forget, I met a researcher when I was working on the Seahorse National Park project. And, she's basically internationally acclaimed for her work on seahorses. And I was so excited to meet her. And when I met her in person, she had purple hair. And I was like, I had to catch myself. I remember seeing her come out the car and thinking, this is doctor? Like you have purple hair. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because I was like, it was any sort of negative feeling, but it just shocked me that, wow, like you are in this high up position and your hair is purple because you want your hair to be purple. Mm-hmm. And who's going to check you for that? Your work speaks for you. And so, right. And so ever since then, I was like, I'm going to do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to dress however I feel. Like, so, I mean, obviously within reason. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I think it's important not to compromise yourself and your identity in anything that you're doing. And that was one of the challenges, ironically, that I faced initially. So.
I'm with the purple hair. Yeah, I think, it. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm going to go purple. I think it's like black to gold. For me. That's fine, but I completely agree with you in not compromising who you are. Like, because a lot of times you do have persons who feel that this is the standard for how someone should look or should present themselves in order to be doing it in this field. And like you see, even not in today's world, on like different websites or different platforms like TikTok, you see so many persons who are doctors, who are medical doctors, who are doing so many things, and you know what, they are completely themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important. So I thank you so much for letting us know that.
Can I also share another story?
You want to share another story?
Just quickly about what you said. Also, when I would meet fishermen, they would not think I knew what I was talking about. Oh. They'd be like, "Oh, you're so pretty to be."
Well, was it because you're a woman?
Yes, definitely because I was a woman. Almost so much so that they would defer to whoever the man was that I was with. Even though, like, I'm leading the project and I'm here to talk about something, they would ask that person questions and not me, the person who just presented on all this information. So, yeah, I had to fight for my rights.
Yeah, well, I am happy to see that persons are now welcoming us more into the sector, not just as women, but as Bahamian women. We know, like, in a lot of different conferences, they're now talking about the decolonization of the sciences, of the field, and things like that. So I think it's important that not only that we take that stance, we link up together, we connect to make sure that we erase that stigma. So you're juggling Siren Sundays, BCC, GCC, Lashanti The Siren. That's a lot. How do you do it? Yeah. And spinning, hosting,
working, living.
How do you do it?
I wake up at 4 o'clock every day.
That is insane. And that's something that only Kurt is going to be.
Yeah. No, I think it's one of those things where if you start finding things that you like to do, okay. And again, back to the passion, I think you'll never not want to do it. And you'll get tired, because we all get tired. But I think if you really love what you're doing, you will find the energy, and then you'll have to obviously make the time to rest, which is super important. But yeah, check me out. Just been
where?
MacFit West. Right now, my classes are Mondays at 5:30 a.m. So if you get up and get it, you will get the sweat with the siren.
Oh wow, sweat with the siren. For sure, you should find that. I like that.
I should like start hashtagging that.
Yeah, you should. 100%. So, what are all of your social handles? How can people find out all the things that you do? Other than Siren Sundays, Lashanti The Siren, where can we find more about BCC and GCC, or when will it be launching?
All right, so for Lashanti The Siren and all the Siren Sunday things that I do, as well as for Lashanti The Siren and Siren Sundays, Instagram is Lashanti The Siren _, and you have Siren Sundays _. You also have LashantiJeff.com, which is not as popularly advertised, but I am doing my best to keep it as relevant as possible. You can always listen to the shows after the fact on any podcast platform. Just search Siren Sundays. It is on Apple, it is on Spotify, it is on Google. If you want to keep up with things related to BCC, conservation242.org exists, but it is still under construction, as well as at Conservation 242 on Instagram. I don't have a Facebook page for that because I'm still trying to navigate whether or not it'll be as beneficial as possible. But definitely look out for things like that because I will plan to start planning another beach cleanup series. And I think anybody who was following me in my earlier days of my Sirenness, which was in mid 2021 or mid 2021, when I first moved back home, I was so disheartened by the increase in pollution, from COVID, right? Like we had just created this single-use plastic ban, and then COVID hit, unfortunately. And of course, people wanted to stay as sterile as possible. So we had an increase in masks, and people were just throwing masks on the ground. We had an increase in gloves, just increase in so much plastic and pollution. It really inspired me to launch a very brief initiative that obviously ended, where I called it the Coastal Cleanup. Not just beach, because I feel like other areas on the island needed attention. And I focused a lot of my efforts in Coral Harbor Canal at first because, it's my neighborhood. There's a lot of illegal dumping happening back here. But also, again, just like a lot of pollution that we washing up from the canal and on the different areas around the canal as well. And I really try my best to make that zero waste. So we weren't adding to the waste that we were already picking up. So it was buckets, dumping straight into the back of a dumpster that would then take it straight to the New Providence Ecology Park. We would have reusable gloves, and we just have volunteers that came out to do that, as opposed to having the plastic bags and the latex gloves. Because I would always hate being a part of a beach cleanup, and I kid you not, after the beach cleanup, you see the water bottles that people had, drinking from, the gloves that people used, and then you see the big pile of plastic bags sitting there until the dump came to get it. So yeah, I'm hoping to relaunch the Coastal Cleanup Initiative probably this summer. Maybe around Earth Day. I'll see if Melissa wants to do a thing again and get a tree planting going. But
you can we twist our arm just a little bit.
Yeah,
putting it in the show. But fun fact, I actually met you at your Coastal Cleanup.
Yeah, I did. That is true. Connections. Yeah, so that's exciting. It's a Conservation 242 on Instagram and then .org. And for Global Conservation Connection, we're still doing a lot of the foundation building work. So that will be launched in March of this year, end of March. And it's open to anybody who is actively working in the field, studying to be in the field, or nonprofit organizations. I think I mixed it up. Nonprofit organizations, conservationists as individuals as well, and researchers, and students studying to be in the sector. So we can create this space for us to create connection or spark connections, support, spark, and share. That's what we do in there. The 3 S's.
So, Lashanti, under one of your Instagram posts, it was called A Young Siren. And under one of the comments, it said, such an inspiration. And I can honestly attest to you being such an inspiration for a lot of persons in this sector. But who inspired you?
So funny story. And every time I tell her this story, I feel like she forgets. But if she does end up watching this, she'll remember. The very first person who inspired me was Alana Vellicott. I was on my 12th grade trip, and we decided to go to Eleuthera. We were staying in South Eleuthera. And again, at the time, I was still like, I'm going to be a veterinarian, right? So we got to tour the island school. Alana was actually the intern that gave us the tour. And everybody in my grade who was on that trip was like, walking around following her, and I was the only one at the front, hanging on to every single word she said, because I thought she was this phenomenal person doing something so amazing, living at a place that I applied, didn't get it, but doing something that I just thought was so me. I wanted to be a best scholar. I wanted to be like her at the time. I mean, I still be like her, but just at the time I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. I applied to the best program and I didn't get in. So I was like, oh, maybe I just want to be a veterinarian anyway. So she was definitely the first person I would say kind of inspired me to pursue environmental and marine biology, because before that, again, it was just marine vet. And then I was like, if I could do marine biology and veterinary school, then I'd be more viable, to do that. But yeah, she was definitely the first person, but I've definitely been inspired along the way by a lot of other women who I've met here. And there's so many. So I'm going to quickly just name 3 or 4.
Okay.
Should I even?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah. So I definitely, when I was working at the marine mammal facility, I got to work with Lindsay Knowles Felton, who was also Mermaid Lindsay of Bahamas Mermaid. So check her out. She does educational and party and fun events. I then got to work under Lakeisha Anderson Roll, who was one of the most like life-changing directors that I've ever had in my life, and I'm so fortunate that I'm still connected with her and Lindsay as well. Lynn Gates. Lynn is like the sweetest, most knowledgeable person I've ever met, and I think maybe it's her teaching background, but she's just always so full of information, and I'm always so grateful to have conversations with her because she's really good at grounding me. And I'll stop there because I could continue going on, but I did want to highlight women in the field who inspired me. And actually, fun fact with that, when I started working with Lakeisha, she was the only other person that I worked with that was getting her nails done. And so I felt very like validated, like, yeah, me too. My director's doing it, and I'm doing it too. So yeah.
Representation matters.
It's important.
And just how Lakeisha inspired you, you're inspiring all the rest of us. And even persons who are younger than us who want to be dolled up inside the field. So thank you for that. So another question. What is a motto that you live by that not only is something that inspires you, but you feel is so impactful that it transcends generations?
Definitely my life mantra is don't think, just be. I'm an overthinker, and I think it is so important that you try to keep yourself present, because if you keep thinking about the past, you can't change it. You worry about the future, you're giving yourself stress that you may not even get. But don't think, just be present, or just be a mermaid. And another, I'm obviously not going to read the entire thing right now, but I definitely always revisit the poem Desiderata. It was written in 1927, and it's known as a poem for a way of life. And every time I read that poem, another part of it sticks out that really kind of inspires me. My favorite piece is just that it talks about, and whether it is known to you, the universe is unfolding as it should. And so if you can just keep following your gut, you follow your passion, and you do what feels good and what feels right, and is not hurting other people, then you are on the path. Which is, my favorite book is The Alchemist, so your personal legend. And that's some things that carry me through, and I think are inspiring, that should be visited by everyone. There goes Ocean.
Who's Ocean?
My dog. One of two. And Ocean and Waiting.
It's true to this. Even the dogs have marine names. Ocean and Waiting. I haven't read The Alchemist. Was that poem found in it, or is it something that you just related to?
No, The Alchemist is a book, and Desiderata is a poem that I first discovered or first found out about in 2012 when I was actually in resident assistant training. I was an RA in college, so that was fun.
Oh wow!
and I always reference back to being an RA because if anyone has been a resident assistant / RA at any college, one of the foundational things that you have to do is be a community builder. You have all these residents that live on your floor in your building, and you have to make connections with them. You have to make sure they're doing okay. You learn who each of them are. You have to host events that are targeted towards them so that they can feel welcomed and in a safe space. And I always enjoyed when I was an RA for freshmen because, some of them their first time living away from home, maybe they're in a new place, and they have this like new sense of independence and true adulthood. And my whole life, I've always found that I enjoy taking young girls under my wing because
you're a mentor.
I mentor. Wow, yeah, I do it.
That makes sense. It fits.
It does fit. It checks. Yeah. So my whole life, I think I'm fortunate now, and as I said, my sister commented earlier. I always wanted a big sister, and fortunately, in 2016, God blessed me with one. Love her so much, and I always found myself trying to be the big sister to others who I wanted for myself. And so, of course, when I finally got one, I was so thrilled. So yeah, I think sisterhood is important, and I think women helping women and uplifting women is one of my things. And shout out to men too. There are men that are doing it, and I think men are brave. But I do recognize that I think a lot of times women just don't support each other, and we should.
No, I agree with that point, and I also I appreciate the men that also see that if I don't bring a woman into this space, then someone has to do it. And I'm appreciative that they're the persons who step into that gap for women and they come here. And especially with the sister, I feel like we have a sister and husband. Try a person who like, hey, you want this project? Come here. Appreciate that. I appreciate that 100%.
Yeah.
So looking back over all of the Siren Sundays, we're going to take it back a little bit and go back to Siren Sundays. We talked about BCC, we talked about GCC. So back on to Siren Sundays. This is season 10. What's
More guests. So I'm pretty sure we were able to square away 10 guests, including me, for season 10. I think one of the things that people who have been following the show can remember is when I started the show, Mr. Lindy Knowles said that he would only come on my show if I made it to season 10. Lindy and I were flatmates when we were living in the UK. And when I started the show, I mean, and again, when I started, I didn't think I was going to make it 4 years into season 10 either. But me just always needing to prove someone wrong. So I have to almost thank Lindy. He had said, because Lindy's, I personally, and he hates when I talk about it, I think Lindy is such a phenomenal marine ecologist.
Yes.
He is very knowledgeable. He's definitely a great mentor to so many young marine ecologists. And I was fortunate enough to work with him, and he really helped me when I thought I wanted to be a researcher. Really, I didn't want to be. So we stayed in touch. But point is, everybody's been waiting. A lot of people have been waiting for Lindy to be on the show. And something about Lindy saying he ain't coming on the show till season 10 has really been my momentum. He even tried to tell me, because one of my seasons was shorter than the other, that shouldn't count. But Lindy is the next episode. He is the next episode. And so I'm really excited to have him come on the show. I might try to convince him to come on my Siren couch.
Yeah, I think this is cool. I think that you should have most persons come here. Like that's living inside this area, of course.
It's true.
Come and let's take Siren Sundays to Siren Couch.
Siren sofa.
Siren sofa. See?
Yeah, get the S's going.
Yeah, stick with the S. So we talked about that professional aspect of Lashanti The Siren. So let's get a bit more personal. You should see her face like personal. Tell us. You told us about Chris Brown. You told us about marine. So let us know a bit more about your hobbies that you like to do. Like you mentioned that rest is important. So how do
I was
you
like, where is this going?
It's not
In the vein of Chris
Right,
Brown, I was like, I was
going.
like, I don't know what you want me to tell these people today. Like,
So what you want to
okay, hi.
your hobbies.
So, who Lashanti is
Outside of Lashanti The Siren.
outside. I did not expect this question, honestly. Which, yeah. So I love the beach. Some of my hobbies, okay, for real. I do. I'm trying to be a plant mom. I'm actually a dog mom. But I definitely, just back to the earlier point, I love spin, which for anyone who's not familiar with the term, it's indoor cycling. For fun fact, people who don't know me, I was actually on the national cycling team when I was in high school. So I've had bikes in my life, bike life, for a while. And so, when I went to undergrad, sorry, my dog's playing with the cold outside. Even when I went in undergrad, I found out that they were doing the indoor cycling spinning class, and I wasn't even registered. I was dropping into that woman class 7 a.m. every morning that she was having it because I was just obsessed. And I'm talking about it was back in the day, back in the day. There was no smartwatches. We had to check our heart rate by counting our heartbeat within the 15 seconds to make sure we knew what our heart rate zone was. Whereas now, you can check your watch, check your zone, your computer's on the bicycle. I'm talking about archaic bicycles. And now, to see myself be a spin instructor, I actually do feel like I've come full circle. And I don't really talk about that a lot with people. I talked a bit about it on Fanatic Islanders, which is another podcast and show. Shout out to those guys. But yeah, I think I definitely enjoy bicycles and riding bikes. If I had a mountain bike, I would do that more. If the roads were more bike friendly, I would ride my bike to work and to wherever I have to go. When I lived in the UK, I rode my bike everywhere. Like I'm a big advocate for bicycle life. I also recently decided to stop powerlifting because, again, I had to start lifting heavy so I could show people, I'll show these men, I can lift heavy too. But I decided that I actually want to get back into running. I played soccer most of my life. So I would say, no. I was not good. Sorry, let me correct that. I was not the star athlete. I was not always in the starting 11, but I've always been a team player. And I think being on a soccer team really gave me a sense of community and belonging. And I mean, I always just enjoyed sports. I was a tomboy. I have a twin brother. By nature, anything he wanted to do, I had to do too because we're the same age. So why you can do it and I can't do it? So I just shoot marbles too and catch lizards. Anyway.
Oh, me too. I used to let the lizards marry each other.
Yeah,
this isn't about me. This is about you.
We can talk about it. but yeah, so and now I've decided I want to kind of go back to my roots, and so I've decided to start being a runner again. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping to do the 10K this year and come full circle and actually do the half marathon in January. This year I did the 5K, mm-hmm. And I'm trying to see if I can do a 5K every month. I'm hoping to do the one towards the end of February. Anyway, I don't remember the date, so I'm going to dive into that. But yeah, so I do plan on thinking of running again. Mm-hmm. I do enjoy going to the gym. I think health is wealth, and being able to exercise is more than what you look like, and is less about what you look like and more about taking care of your body. Because I always joke with people like, I don't look like a gym rat. I don't look like a typical spin instructor for obvious reasons. But I am healthy. Like every time I go to the doctor and they check my pressure and my blood, one time this one nurse did my blood pressure and I'm sure she was like, this is a little thick gal. Blood pressure probably high. She literally was like, oh wow. She said, oh wow. She said, oh wow. And then the same thing when they first got my blood work, my doctor was like, oh wow, like you're, and I'm like, yeah, because I eat well, you know, like don't mind me, I fit, I'm a stallion. But health as well. So I always encourage people, you don't go to the gym to lose weight. You go to the gym for your health and your heart. If you want to lose weight, change your diet. That's all.
80-20.
Yeah, 80-20. Mm-hmm. I love cookies. I can't talking now about going to bakehouse for cookies. Like, I can eat the cookies.
Advertisement. Little plug.
Yeah, I like cookies. And sorbet. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway. But other hobbies, and of course the last one, I love to sing. I had Renique here as I was doing my makeup, and anytime I start my show, one of my Showtime rituals, I actually have a playlist on Spotify. It's called Sing. I sing. I sing while I'm doing my makeup. I sing straight up until maybe like 10-15 minutes before the show starts. Because I feel like it warms up my vocal cords. But it's just, singing has always been a big part of my life. I've started a musical. I've been in stage plays that included singing and acting. Oh, yeah? I did vocals in undergrad. Oh, so wow. In undergrad, I actually sang opera and classical music. And not like classical. I'm talking about like classical. I sing in Latin. And I actually sung a German song once. You really gotta like. Anyway,
it's a lot, though. Actually,
it's a lot. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so singing has always been a big part of my life. I actually had a music group with my brother when we were in high school. We won an award.
What was it called?
It was called. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. It was called something.
J-Sway.
No, because it was me, my brother, and 3 of his friends. I was the singer and writer, and they all were rappers. And my brother and his friend were the producers, so we created the music. But I can't remember what we named our group. But we appealed to the gospel sector, so we were doing gospel music, and we participated in a BFM contest, and we came 2nd place, and it was great. Original song, original beat, our own lyrics. I can't remember the name of the song, but there's pictures of me holding a little trophy. But yeah, maybe, probably. And yeah, and I always loved singing in choirs. So I always was able to land like the solo spots if I wanted it, or if I auditioned for it. Typically, I could get the soloist spot in the choir. And I always loved singing jazz, so I loved like participating in jazz nights. So who knows? Maybe I'll see Siren sing soon.
So you were singing all that time when I was here. That was your voice.
Yeah.
Wow. So great voice. Oh. I was just like, is this recorded? Is that the actual person singing? And then I don't know if you. I'm being honest though.
Oh, I have a foodie.
Oh, someone in there.
Look at that. See, that's my sister. You know. Oh. I'm a foodie too. I enjoy it, which is why I am the way I am. I like experiencing new things, places, people, and ideas. I do. I like to travel. I haven't been able to travel as much as I can, but I've definitely hit some corners of the world that I love. And I used to be plant-based, and I decided to not be plant-based anymore because I wanted to be able to experience the cultures through their food when I travel. Mm-hmm. So, like when I went to Colombia, they love up a pork. Like, I forget what it's called. Something. Mm-hmm. But anyway, point is, yeah. So I do enjoy traveling, and I am a foodie.
Look at this coming and clutch to remind you
who I am. Remember who you are.
Remember So, Lashanti, we are reminding down for time. So, are there any words or parting words that you want to leave with your viewers? I'll even let them know about what's more to expect or what other things that they should be looking out for, just so that it's fresh in them after the show. Or parting words.
Oh, I'm like looking at her like, that's just her. Parting words. Follow,
Follow, like,
comment,
share,
follow.
comment.
She had me. I think you should say this part. Follow, like, share, comment. And you know what? And I think it's such an amazing example of just like having Renique here. We got Misha behind the scenes. Don't mind her being quiet. If this camera falls, she got us. But I think as best as you can, find your people, find your tribe, and what did they say? If you want to go faster by yourself, or if you want to go far, bring others along. I really made a pivotal decision in season 9 to finally get some help. I mean, I've been doing Siren Sundays by myself that entire time, and I was reaching the point of like, I think I don't want to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. And so I said, I spoke with a friend, and they were like, well, why don't you just find someone to help you? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Who am I going to find to help? Like, this is my vision. Like, who's really going to be able to help me through this? And I just randomly posted on my story one day, and I was like, anybody interested in comm? I was like, maybe if I just get someone to have the communication stuff. And a couple people reached out. I just kept thinking, I'll get back to you. I'll let you know. But the minute Renique slid in my DM,
that sounds like one sinister.
I was like, anyway. The minute she slid in my DM, I literally felt it in my spirit, like, this is it. This is it. And it's been way more than communications at this point. I feel like Misha and Renique have become strategic planning partners, and I bounce ideas off of them. I just asked them to read a concept note for me the other day, and so it's so important to find like-minded people who can really support you. And I definitely feel like I came off of the edge of burnout, and I really feel myself like coming back. And I did this whole dry January thing that ends in 3 days. And I was just telling another friend,
I meant to tell you, like, I don't think you're supposed to be happy for the count.
Girl, I can do whatever I want to be. True. But yeah, and I think I definitely, maybe I shouldn't look out for the revelations I've experienced during dry January. How about that? I wouldn't even tell y'all some of the like epiphanies or these deep realizations I've had. And one of my friends pointed out, like, once you remove a vice, and I don't talk about it much, but I believe in God, right? And I'm not gonna like bash anyone's religion or Christianity or whatever it is, but I really felt like in taking away some of those vices, I was really able to hear him a bit more. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of questions, and there was a lot of confusion. And I just feel like when you sacrifice something, you will gain something else. Now, I can drink come February. I lie to you. I enjoy alcohol, but again, I think it's in the vein of being a foodie. I enjoy how things taste. We feel, but it's important. I think to get what you want, you have to sacrifice something. Mm-hmm. And you know what? That's how we'll leave out with that. Y'all can hear about this dry January stuff later. Follow the show, like the show, share the post. Stay on this journey with me. Keep riding the wave. It's so much more to come. I really feel like 2024 is going to be a year of evolution for Lashanti the Siren and for the show and for BCC and for GCC and for whatever else you guys see me put my hands on. I'm not going to put my hands on people, but on things, non-human things. Oh my gosh, I'm bombing. Take it away. Take it away.
Oh, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this first episode of season 10, Siren Sundays. I am your guest host, Renique Forbes, interviewing the lovely, the amazing, the incomparable Lashanti the Siren. See you later. See you later.